Howdy y'all, it's Russell back with Gwinnett Lawns in beautiful Atlanta, Georgia. Today is February the 2nd, 2020, and it is about, I don't know, 66, 67 degrees. Weird. It's actually going to be 71 tomorrow. So on this video, I have the results of the Blackstone Laboratories oil analysis that we did on the Wright 36i Stander a couple of weeks ago. Good news, real good news. So what I'm going to do is I will put up a still photograph of this so you can see it, so I don't have to keep moving it back and forth to the camera. What I want to point out to you guys as we go over this very quickly is that I was wrong. Wright recommends a 100-hour oil change. Now, because of the environment that I mow in is extremely dusty and usually very hot, I cut that interval in half. Well, it just goes to show you that whether it's a mower, a motorcycle, a car, a boat, whatever it is, a truck, a semi, you can't just guess at the oil change interval. You have to actually do an oil analysis. Now, this analysis, even though you may have the exact same mower, this analysis is really mostly applicable to my mower and the oil that I'm using. If I were to change oil to, say, Mobil 1 or Quaker State or Pennzoil, whatever, a different oil, can throw this out of the window, okay? Because this oil in this engine in that environment is what I'm looking at. So take this with a grain of salt. If you want to find out the conditions that your oil is in, how far it can go, you'll have to do an oil analysis. Now, the Blackstone tests are about $38 because I also get a TBN, and I'll explain what that is. Oil analyzers, which is who I normally have used, is about $28. So they're about $10 cheaper. They do the exact same analysis, and the oil analyzers comes with the TBN test. So without further ado, basically they give you in a comments area a narrative, and it basically says the universal averages show typical wear levels for this type of engine after about 55 hours on the oil. That's pretty close to the 52.8 that we ran on the mower that had when we pulled the oil sample. So wear metals should match up nicely with the benchmark, and they do. Maybe iron could have been a few parts per million lower, but that's being picky. 11 parts per million is not enough to worry about. A serious problem developing at steel parts. After all, not all engines wear exactly alike. There's a lot of information right there. TBN of 7.9, okay, the total base number of 7.9 means there's plenty of active additive left for a longer run. The air and oil filters are working well, and their recommendation is to try 75-hour drain interval next time. So let's talk about the TBN. That's really, when you're trying to find out when to change your oil, is the most important thing. Total base number. That is the oil's ability to neutralize acids. It's a very acidic environment in an internal combustion engine, producing a lot of acids and nitrates that will degrade the engine if the TBN gets depleted, basically. So think of TBN as antioxidants for your blood, okay? This particular oil, I believe it starts out at 12.1 total base number, and it went down after 52.8 hours, it went down to 7.9. So I really probably could go longer than 100 hours on the oil as far as the TBN is concerned. So that's very, very good. So it easily, what I'm going to do, my plan is to take the oil change interval back out to 100 hours, okay? And I'm going to check it again, and then we'll see, and I'll compare it with this, we'll see how much of the acid neutralizing capability of the oil is still left. I probably will stick with a 100-hour change interval provided the analysis comes out all right. So everything looks really good. The aluminum, the chromium, the iron, copper, lead, tin, molybdenum, all these are wear metals inside the engine. So for instance, let's say I had lead, okay, that may be indicative of a problem with my bearings. If I had a problem with iron, it could be rings, aluminum, it could be the cylinder walls, and so on and so forth. This is really good for you to get a snapshot of what kind of condition the engine in, how it's wearing. And as they noted, the aluminum averages, remember these are averages, usually are around 6 and mine's at 11, but remember that's parts per million. So that's almost statistically unimportant. Now if it were like 800, 1,000, 2,000, then there would be a problem and I would probably recheck it again, and if I still got the same results, then I would take the mower and say, hey look, I'd show them the oil sample and say, look, we've got a problem developing inside the engine. You will often see a trend long before you will ever notice any degradation in performance or degradation in the actual running ability of the engine. Now we can see the calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, and zinc and barium. These are all components, elemental components that are in the additive package of the oil. These, especially the calcium, it is a acid neutralizer. So it is part of what AMSOIL has designed inside the oil to get that really high 12 TBN. And then at the bottom it goes into testing the viscosity and all that. This is, you know, fuel. There's really no fuel in there. Antifreeze, of course there better not be. You're seeing this is air cooled. Water and solubles, stuff like that. And then of course the TBN. So I'm very, very pleased with this report. I do this on my cars, not all of them, but I have done it on my Jetta. It's got 386,000 miles, and I was able to stretch the oil change interval out very, very far by doing an oil analysis. So I hope that this was informative to you guys. Obviously, because of the cost, it doesn't cost me $38 to change the oil. And this would be cost prohibitive to do this every time. But I'll do this twice. I'll do it one more time at 100 just to make sure that it's tracking linearly as we think it will. And then that's probably all the oil analysis, unless there was a problem that I would need to do on that mower. Now, if I decided to change oils, I would really need to do this over again, because another oil is not going to give the same results as this oil. But as long as I'm pretty much staying in the same condition, same oil, then I can be rest assured that that is going to be safe to go X amount of hours. So guys, thank you very much. I hope this was informative. If you would like to, if you have any questions about oil analysis, or you have any questions about maybe I didn't cover on the video, even if it's car related, you know, go ahead and give me ask a question, drop a comment below, and I'll do my best to answer it. With that being said, guys, thank you very much. Please subscribe if you haven't done so, and I will see you on the next video.